really doing is you're just giving them a high five, you're giving them a hug. You know, a comment is a conversation. Do you know there's no revolution that's ever happened in a boardroom or in a cubicle? But revolutions happen because somebody has a conversation. You know, it's much like falling in love. Like, many times, it starts because of a conversation. A conversation is powerful. And you know, it only takes an extra 2-3 seconds sometimes to go and you see your timeline, and just to leave a comment, it starts a conversation. In fact, it actually hacks the Facebook algorithm. I was trying to figure out a way to hack the Facebook algorithm and how that all works, and I just was studying it, and then I came across just some of these interesting ideas. And it's this, is that social media is not about technology. It's actually about friendship. And the best way to increase influence is to be a good friend. See, what we do is we think it's about the buttons. And we think it's about some type of hack or some type of thing that we can do. And you know what? Some of those things work, but they work temporarily. And at what cost? So influence is much different than having a bunch of followers. I don't care how many followers somebody has. I care about that when they post something, does it create action? So you can have 100,000 followers and nobody do anything. Who cares? But for you to be able to post and you have maybe a couple hundred friends, but those couple hundred friends rally around it and they share it with their friends, that's what true influence is. And influence, think about it, the people that influence your life the most, those mentors, it's because they invested in you, because they took the time, because they were a good friend to you. And so what we have to do is we have to stop being strategic. So I think a lot of people, they want to know how to grow their business, they want to know how to do all that, and what they think is, I need to be more strategic. Here's what I'll tell you is stop being strategic. Instead, what I want you to do is I want you to be thoughtful. It's a very big difference. You see, strategy is about what I can get out of somebody. Thoughtfulness is what could I give to somebody? How could I enrich their life? How could I make their life better? Now, some of you, you're not quite 100% on board with this idea yet, so let me rephrase it. Ladies, would you like your husband, boyfriend, fiance to be strategic or thoughtful with you? Exactly. Right? Because it's like, oh, I'm being strategic. Why? Because I want something. Versus thoughtfulness is about what can I give to somebody else. And when he's thoughtful, and so that is why this is so important. You put it together, thank you, it's very good. You go camping, that's what happens. I just can't help it. It goes in there, and then I'm like, no, don't. Oh, too late. So we need to stop being strategic, stop trying to see what we can do to get out, and just the spamming. Oh, please stop it. I don't have time to get into it. I got an Instagram message yesterday that said, have you tried that crazy rap thing? And I was like, hey, be thoughtful, be thoughtful. You probably didn't mean to send this to me, happy face. And then the response was, would you like to try the greens? There's 8 servings of vegetables. And I was like, hey, no, I'm part of the corporate team, adventure, and like social media. That sounds like an interesting field. No, you weren't understanding as I was saying. So I just took a selfie with Mark, and I was like, I'm the guy on the left. But because it's just, I need to go through, and I just need to spam everybody. It's not thoughtful. And you say, yeah, but I got somebody out of that. Yeah, but how many people did you not get because of that? And how much did you ruin it for the community at large? Because we're trying to be strategic, so, which isn't strategic, by the way. Thank you. Like, either we all go. Okay,
Either we all go.
Okay. So, I'm going to explain the difference between this. Here's just an example really quick. I took this the other day. This is the log at Pixar. And the reason that I want to bring this about is because Pixar creates great stories because it's based on relationship. Everything that they do is intentional based on relationship. So I could show you a lot of clips, I could show you a lot of shit, but I'm showing you their lobby. Why? Because they're thoughtful. They spend time and they're intentional and they're thoughtful. Because in here to the right, that is the cafe. To the left is the mailboxes. And you can't see it, but kind of towards the front, that's the bathrooms. Now it's a large campus, but it would be much more efficient to go and put the bathrooms distributed throughout the building. It'd be much more efficient to go and have the mail delivered. But it's not good for relationships. So what they did is they designed the building to facilitate relationship. Because at some point, you're gonna get hungry, you're gonna have to go to the bathroom, you have to get your mail, and you're gonna bump into somebody, and you're gonna have a conversation, and that's where the true power of that story happens. Because when you're having lunch, I've sat there, I've overheard it, where somebody says, I'm having this problem, and then somebody says, hey, have you tried this? Or would it be cool if we did that? They're intentional about relationships matter because people matter. Because your story in here matters. So I'm gonna explain. Social media is much more like falling in love. My daughter was turning 12. Which is a big birthday in a girl's world, and my son turns 12. All right, laser tag and pizza. Okay, whatever. She's turning 12. It's a big deal. I'm supposed to go to Google X Labs, and I am picking up a new prototype, and they picked the date July 19th. The problem is that's Pepe's birthday. So while I'm just going and saying I will pick my daughter over Google, somebody on my team said, you know, you have like all these travel miles and companion tickets. Why don't you just take Peyton with you to New York? I'm glad I thought of this idea. This is a brilliant idea that I came up with all on my own. So, day of her birthday, I wake her up. Hey, Peyton, happy birthday. Let's go to lunch. She's like, Daddy, it's 7:30 in the morning. I'm like, yeah, it's cool. Let's get in the car. I packed her bags overnight. She didn't match all weekend, by the way.
I bet not.
Try to hide a lot of those pictures because it was awful.
There would be my kids.
And I pulled to the airport and she said, Daddy, we're eating at the airport for my birthday? She's like, this is the worst birthday ever. And I said, no, Pepe, we are eating at the Plaza Hotel for your birthday. And I'm flying to New York and it's just going to be you and I. We're going to have an adventure together. See, she loved the Eloise books. So she's been reading about this girl who grew up in the Plaza Hotel. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take you to the Plaza Hotel and we're going to have lunch together. So I have a picture of that, some of those moments. There's one of them there that we had lunch together. Here's another one. I hate that picture too because she's so beautiful. Like, I prayed she'd be a little bit ugly. Not like hunchback. I'm just saying, it's just. And now she's 2 years older, it's ridiculous. That's why the tower. Yeah, we have crocodiles on order. So I posted this, but I want you to look at that last comment from the Plaza Eloise. It says, wishing you a very happy birthday, hope you enjoyed a rather marvelous lunch. See, that was the moment that I fell in love with the Plaza Hotel. It didn't matter how many ads they put out. It doesn't matter the magazine, photo shoot that they did in the airport, but I didn't look at it. I might have passed a billboard. Today, the average American is going to be exposed to 5,000 ads. Do you know nobody wants more advertising? On your Facebook timeline this year, just the number of posts that are generated by the average number of friends is 500,000. 500,000 Facebook posts are going to run through your timeline? Do you think anybody wants another ad? Do you think that anybody goes to sleep tonight and says, if I only just heard one more radio car commercial ad, my day would have been made? Like if there was another print ad that just made me feel horrible about myself and jealous about my neighbor, like I would have just loved that, but it didn't happen, and I don't feel fulfilled now. Like nobody is thinking that. But do you know, it doesn't matter who that person is. Everybody will go to bed tonight and wish they had a little more adventure in their life. And this is where, that's what happens, is that your deepest relationships are through shared adventure. So what we have to do is we have to stop advertising and start inviting people into a grand adventure. This is where we have to go, and we have to talk about our adventure. We talked about many of the types of things that you would post, and we try to show you that like in our social media adventure, and a lot of that is how to have that advantage. Because at the end of the day, our team is here because we want to give you an advantage. I want to give you an unfair advantage. I'm on your side, I'm not on somebody else's side. I want to help you win. So I want you to know about things ahead of time. I want you to know all those things. But many times, I can't really help the content, right? If you're advertising, it's not gonna work too great. If you start talking about your adventure, and you invite people into it, you start posting about fun, friendship, freedom, you start talking about that and inviting people into that. And I think the other thing that's important is I'm seeing this shift happen, and it's amazing, is that people are starting now to talk about others more. And I'm loving where that's headed. Is that I love to see how much teams are celebrated. And teams are celebrated like sideline teams, like thoughtful. And so that's really, really important because it's about being a good friend. And when you start posting more thoughtfully, what you'll start to see is your likes go up, you have better engagement, and you have more influence. And then that influence is what you can use to say, hey, there's this really amazing company. It's kind of crazy, but I'd like to tell you about it. And probably what will happen, and many people in here can attest to this, is they'll probably contact you first about that as well. You're having a lot of fun. Okay, so let me keep going. I'm gonna skip a couple of things here. All this is technology just makes things go faster, okay? I'm not talking about circuits. I'm talking about technology just accelerates things. So that means when some of you in here say, I hate Facebook, you hate gossip. You don't hate Facebook. Facebook is just, it's amoral. It doesn't have feelings. It doesn't go and say, I'm gonna decide to do this. It helps do what you want in your heart faster. I could take a brick and I could throw it through a stained glass window. I could help build a school with it. It does what I desire it to do. Social media is that. So if you see a lot of negativity, you see a lot of jealousy, you see a lot of that, guess what it's doing? Facebook is saying, but I thought you liked that stuff. It doesn't know. Because that's the people that you're following, and that's the people you engage with, and that's the kind of stuff you like, so I'm just gonna give that more to you. It doesn't know. It is just accelerating. And so while that can accelerate negative things, what's amazing is that it can accelerate hope. It can amplify encouragement. Somebody was saying the other day to me, oh, you're so happy all the time, which is not true. Like there's moments where I get down about stuff. And I've had to struggle with different things like that. And I'll tell you the best thing to do. You go on Instagram, and you start liking people's photos, and you start commenting, and you start encouraging people. If you need encouragement, just start going and encouraging people. It's like the scene from The Grinch Stole Christmas. Like I'm going over signs, it's like, this is a great day now, like, because it can amplify that encouragement. Okay, so, skip that a little bit. Okay, I need you guys to take this test really quick.
Awareness test. How many passes does the team in white make? answer is 13. But did you see the moonwalking bear?
Okay, so this is what happens to us, is that many times we just have a certain mindset. And many of the times, it's important to understand is that it's the way we think about things, it's the way we approach our day. So, if we take that there is 3,300 people today, was it 3,300 people? Or was it that we spent 4 hours together? Or that I spent 30 minutes with you? So it's just about the way you think about things. You're counting 13. That we had this event was 5 hours, but I don't consider it that way. I consider that was my 5 hours and your 5 hours and your 5 hours and your 5 hours and your 5 hours. And when you add that up, that's a lot of hours. But more importantly, that if I take the average lifespan that's in this room, that today is about impacting 165,000 years of human history. That the amount of time that this room has on the planet is 165,000 years. And then, why wouldn't this be an amazing, amazing day? It's just because I'm not thinking about it the right way. So that when you say, oh, I'm a little nervous, I don't know about, I'm shy, I don't know about talking to that person, and it's going to take 3 minutes. Do you think it's 3 minutes, or do you see it as I could impact 3 generations of human history? See, when you start to think that by talking to this person, that's 3 generations that you can impact, then by not talking to them, that's being selfish. How do you get over like blitzing and going talk to them? It's mindset. So you think that they're going to say no to you. Well, I'll tell you that nobody's going to say no to you. They say no to themselves. At minimum, it's a not yet for you. But it's a no to themselves. Your win was that you asked. Your win that was you did that. If you went and talked to 10 people and you got 10 no's, I celebrate that. Because that's all you were supposed to do. That they said yes or they wanted to sign up for something, that's a bonus. Mm-hmm. The reason I'm celebrating that is not for me, I'm celebrating it for them. It's a very big difference. Because if your day depends on if you're going to have a good day or a bad day, depending on what other people say, wow, that's not a fun way to live. You see, we actually tell our children, we don't tell them to have a good day. When they leave in the morning, it's like, hey, we don't say have a good day. You're like, you are horrible parents. No, because I feel like that turns them into a victim. I feel like when I say that, what I'm telling them is like, I hope you don't I hope you make it home okay, and that like the alligator doesn't get you, or that like somebody is mean to you. Like, I don't say that. What I tell them is that I hope the day has a good you.
I love that.
Because that they can control. That makes it that they're not going to have a bad day. Because they're going to make sure that they can't control the circumstances, but they can control the attitude towards it. And that becomes a really, really big difference in mindset. It's also important to understand this, is that many times limitation is inspiration, okay? That we think all the excuses why we can't do something. I hear it all the time. I'm shy, my spouse doesn't support me, I didn't get my BBK kit, I didn't just go on and on. Because I know people who are very, very successful and they were selling and signing people up before they got their kit. They didn't go through and say that's a limitation. They didn't go through and start to give all the excuses. See, your limitations can either fuel you or they can become your excuses and they can drown you. It's up to you. It's about your mindset. And I understand that it's difficult. I only recently started talking about how I have a problem with words because I'm dyslexic and I was told that I was stupid my entire life. It's still difficult for me when somebody wants to pay a compliment about that because I thought for my entire life that I was stupid. Because I was told that I was stupid, I was put in different classrooms. I didn't read my first book cover to cover till I was 27 years old. Because I was told this, and so it became that thing that I told myself. Until I started realizing dyslexics actually have an advantage. We actually see the world very differently. We actually see it big picture, and we see it interconnected more than anybody. It was recently released that Steve Jobs was really dyslexic. It gave him the ability to zoom out and see opportunities that other people didn't see. They recently released that Walt Disney was dyslexic. In fact, I actually think that this world we live in now, actually the advantage is for somebody who has dyslexia. So when somebody says, oh, I'm sorry you have that, like it's not my disability, it's my difference. And a difference has value. And so don't let your limitations hold you back. Let them fuel you. I have a dream board. On that dream board is to own an elephant. The reason I want to own an elephant is because it one-ups anybody else's story. I don't know if you have a friend who, it doesn't matter what you say, they have a better story. I just wanted an optimum story to just stop it and be like, yeah, okay, your kid got accepted to Harvard. I own an elephant. Like, you're gonna talk about my elephant on the way home. Like, oh, did you hear, like, Bobby's kids, like, is gonna be an astronaut? Did you hear that John-Erik has an elephant? It's amazing. Well, the challenge is how do you take care of an elephant? So it turns out, because I Googled it, that the sad thing is when there's a baby elephant, you have to chain them up or they run away. You don't want to be on the news and be a bad neighbor. So, chain up this baby elephant, and it's sad. So what kind of chain is needed for a gigantic elephant?
Piece of
You think it
twine.
would be huge. Well, it turns out you actually only need a small piece of string on its back left ankle. Because growing up, that is what it got its entire life. So the minute as it's older, it feels a little bit of pressure and it gives up. But it's so much stronger than that.
Isn't that kind of sad?
And it can just break through so easily. But it gives up. I wonder how many of you are being held back by string. I hope you can understand you are so much stronger than that desire to give up and stop, because you were just a baby elephant when that happened. And now you're so much stronger. I remember when I got a call from I remember when I got a call that said, I need you to come home right now, which is never a good situation. And I said, what's wrong? They said, you need to come home right now. And we had just had a baby daughter.
Oh,
and
gosh.
we found out that she had a congenital heart defect and that she only had about a week to live. And so I remember holding her, and her feet were really cold because it was like they were dipped in cold ice water because her heart wasn't strong enough to even pump the blood to her feet. And so I would just sit there and I would just hold her feet and I would just, because I'm just trying to keep them warm. And they said she started to turn yellow and her organs started to shut down. And I was holding her. And we're going to try out this relatively new surgery.
Hormones.
And so the doctor came in and he held out his arms, and I didn't let go. Because the hardest thing that has ever been asked of me in my entire life is to let go of my baby girl. And then I realized that I can't fix her heart, I only can keep her feet warm. And we have to understand is there might be people on our team, there might be ourselves, where we're just keeping the feet warm, and we need to just address the heart, because that is what really gets accelerated on social media, is your heart. So I took this picture. I walked in and I took this picture. Go back here. I want to see what you see. What I see is I see pink feet. This is one of the happiest pictures. I took this picture because I'm happy. Because when I saw her pink feet, I knew that she was healed. I knew that her heart was working. I knew that one day I could take her to the Plaza Hotel. I knew that one day I could walk those feet down the aisle. I knew that everything was going to be okay. But everybody sees this picture and they see wires and they see tubes. Do not be the kind of person that sees the tubes and the wires in the world. We have way too many critics. We have way too many people that want to say everything that's wrong with the world. What about some people that want to stand up and say these are some things that are right about the world? Here are some people that I want to celebrate. You have to understand. Nobody in this room has problems. You have lack of perspective. And those problems are actually your opportunity. And what you have to understand is that we talk about adventure, but your adventure is actually a rescue. You see, your promised land is actually the answer to somebody's prayer. That there's a single mom tonight that is going to cry herself to sleep. But it is you that get to be the answer to that prayer. You see, your mess eventually can be a message that ends up being somebody's miracle. But it is up to how you look at the world. I have a really hard time with the letters move around on me. And it's hard to get to see them sometimes. You know, I think most everybody in the world that you deal with, they're losing every week.
Oh, crap.
They just lose. They're not winning. The person you talk in the grocery store, the person at work with you, the person in your family, they're not winning, they're losing. But it's interesting because the difference between lose and love is one character. You understand is that you could be that character that changes somebody's loss into love. And your adventure begins right now.